All right, welcome to The Explainer. Today, we are diving into one of the most legendary books on strategy ever written, Sun Tzu's The Art of War. Now, when you hear that title, you probably think it's all about battle plans and clashing armies, but its greatest lesson, the real secret we're going to unpack today, is something else entirely. It's an idea so powerful, it completely changes what it even means to win. Right out of the gate, Sun Tzu just drops this bombshell on us. The best of the best, the absolute pinnacle of skill, isn't crushing your enemy. It's making them give up before the first blow is ever struck. And that one idea, that's the key to his entire philosophy. This isn't about being a pacifist, it's about being such a master of conflict that the actual physical fight becomes, well, pointless.
And that's the big question, right? It almost sounds like a riddle. How can you get a total victory when nobody even throws a punch? Well, lucky for us, Sun Tzu doesn't just drop that riddle and walk away. He gives us a clear, step-by-step game plan for doing exactly that, and we're going to walk through it right now.
Okay, so first things first, we have to completely change how we think about the word victory itself. Sun Tzu argues that most of us get it wrong from the very beginning. The best victory isn't about what you destroy, it's about what you gain. This change in mindset is the key that unlocks everything else.
Think about it like this. In business, a takeover where you get all the assets, the talented people, the customers, that's way better than just running a competitor into the ground, leaving you with nothing. Yeah, you can smash your opponent into dust, but what do you have left? Dust. But if you can absorb them whole, you get all their power, all their strength, added to your own. That's the greatest victory.
So, if the goal is to win without fighting, where do you even begin? Well, you don't start by sharpening your sword. You start by sharpening your mind. For Sun Tzu, the entire foundation of strategy is built on one thing: absolute, uncompromising knowledge.
Before you do anything, a master strategist looks at these 5 things. First up, you've got the moral law. That's basically making sure your people are on the same page as you, totally unified. Then you look outside, at heaven. That's timing, the weather, the seasons. And earth, which is the literal ground you're fighting on. Only then do you look at your own side, the quality of the commander and the strength of your method, your logistics. See, what Sun Tzu is saying here is if you're better in these 5 areas, the battle's already won. The fighting is just a formality.
And all that knowledge really boils down to 2 things. It's not enough to know the weather or the terrain. You have to be just as scientific about the people involved. You have to know your enemy's strengths, their weaknesses. And then you have to turn that same harsh spotlight right back on yourself.
And this is where it all comes together. This isn't just some nice-sounding platitude. Sun Tzu is treating this like a mathematical formula for being unbeatable. If you have perfect information on them and on you, you can see the future. You'll know exactly when to move, when to wait, and how to position yourself so that victory is a sure thing before you've even started.
All right, so you've done your homework, you've got the knowledge. What's next? Well, now you get to use that knowledge to mess with your opponent's head. This is where you stop just gathering information and start using it to bend their reality. This is the art of deception.
And Sun Tzu couldn't be clearer about this. He says all warfare is based on deception. And we're not talking about just, little lies here and there. We're talking about building an entire fake world for your enemy to live in. Because if they make decisions based on a reality that isn't real, every single move they make will be a mistake, leading them right to their own defeat.
And here are his classic moves. It's all about opposites. When you're strong and ready to attack, you have to look weak, unable. When you're massing your forces for a huge move, you must look completely inactive. You're close by, make them think you're far away. By doing this, you become totally unpredictable. They're swinging at shadows, basically. They have no clue what's real.
And why do all this? What's the point? It's about getting the biggest result with the least amount of effort. Instead of a head-on collision, crashing your strength against theirs, you use all this misdirection to find their blind spots. You show up where they never thought you'd be, and you strike where they have no defenses. It makes the victory easy.
And that brings us to a really practical point from Sun Tzu. You might be wondering, why go through all this complex stuff? Why not just fight? Well, because fighting, it costs a fortune. Not just in lives, but in cold, hard cash.
And he actually does the math. He says that keeping a huge army of 100,000 soldiers in the field will cost you 1,000 ounces of silver every single day. I mean, just imagine that. Every day a war drags on, your own kingdom is just bleeding money, getting weaker and more exposed.
And look, it's not just the government's problem. A long war trickles down and absolutely crushes the regular people. Sun Tzu figures it drains about a third of the average person's wealth, and the government has to spend almost half its income just replacing broken carts and worn-out armor. You might plant a flag on their hill, but you've bankrupted your own country to do it. That's not a win.
And this right here might be the most brutal, honest line in the whole book. He says there are 0 examples, none, of a country getting stronger from a long war. It's never happened. So if the war takes too long, you've already failed, period. The goal is always to win fast. And the fastest, most efficient win of all, the one where the fight never happens. Okay, so knowledge, deception, efficiency. Who on earth can actually do all this? Who can juggle all these pieces and pull it off? Sun Tzu says it all rests on the shoulders of one person, the general, the leader.
See, for Sun Tzu, a general isn't just some guy who's good at fighting. They are the living shield of the nation, the bulwark that holds disaster back. A good army is great, but a brilliant mind leading it, that's the jewel of the kingdom. Absolutely priceless. And because the leader is so important, their personal baggage becomes a huge strategic weakness that an enemy can use. If a general is reckless, you can bait them into a trap. If they have a hasty temper, you can provoke them into making a dumb move. If they're too worried about their honor, you can use shame to make them do what you want. These aren't just character flaws, they are open doors to disaster.
So what's the perfect leader look like then? It's someone who's completely free of ego. They don't care about getting famous for advancing. They aren't afraid of being called a coward for retreating. All that matters is protecting the country and getting the win. It's that total focus, that ability to make cold, calculated decisions that lets them see the real path to victory. So when you put it all together, winning without fighting, it's not some kind of magic trick, is it? It's a system. It's about protecting what you have, knowing everything you can, controlling your opponent's perceptions, and leading with a clear mind. And yeah, these ideas are thousands of years old, but they're not just for generals. So I'll leave you with this question. In your job, in your negotiations, in your own life, where's the battle you can win, not by fighting harder, but by thinking better?